Hi, my name's Kurt Brimley. I'm one of the founding members and dentists, part of Utah Dental United. Utah Dental United is an independent practitioner association here in Utah. We are a group of over 200 members that have come together as a legal entity to both negotiate and maximize fee schedule reimbursements for dentists across Utah. The way we do that is principally two methods. Number one is pooling of all of the fee schedules and then taking the highest amongst the members and trying to spread that across all of the membership. And the second way we do that is through fee schedule negotiations. Every year or two, once they're allowed, we have an insurance expert who contacts the insurance companies on our behalf and negotiates for higher fees. That is the principal mission of Utah Dental United. That is the main reason that we exist. We do provide other savings, discounts, other educational opportunities for our members. I do want to take a second to thank you for watching this video. We are going to present three things that I feel are very, very valuable, not only to you as a member of Utah Dental United that you can take advantage of for increasing your fees, but as well as cutting costs. First, we're going to hear from Tessa Barney, who is the insurance specialist for Utah Dental United. She is going to go over some of the ways that you can maximize your fee schedules, hopefully increase the reimbursements that you're getting for your services. You'll also be hearing from Dan, who will be explaining to you an innovative way to provide health services through a payroll company. This provides opportunities for you to access healthcare not only for yourself as the dentist and owner of your office, also not just for your whole office, but for specific members if that's how you want to break out some of your employee benefits. You'll also be hearing from Travis, who's going to explain a very innovative, very new way of saving money on dental supplies. They've created a way of comparing across multiple supply houses and other vendors to bring the best prices for you to be able to order for use in your practice.
Hi everyone, I'm Tessa Barney. I'm the face behind the many emails that you receive. As Dr. Brimley said, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about how the umbrella networks work and what they are specifically. So we're just going to jump right into that. Mostly I get questions, so I'm just going to go over the most frequently asked questions that I get. First one is, what is an umbrella network? Second one is, why do insurances use them? Will I still be in network? What do I need to change, or what do I tell my patients when we make the switch? Also, why have I not heard of this before? So we're gonna just kind of go through these questions and answer them for you. You're welcome to follow up with emails or phone calls if you have more questions after. So what is an umbrella network? An umbrella network is a company that carries other insurance companies on its network. It is just a network. It's not an insurance company. It doesn't process any claims. You don't call them for your verification of benefits or anything like that. They're just the network. They're just the housing, more or less. Other terms that these go by would be network stacking organizations, leasing organizations, network renting organizations, and third-party affiliations. So why do insurances use umbrella networks? This is a big question that I get asked a lot. It's pretty simple, surprisingly. Insurance companies need a lot of providers on their network in order to make themselves look appealing to an HR department. So when they're presenting their stuff, they say, yeah, we have all of these doctors in network. If they don't have enough doctors, then the HR department does not want to bring them on. They want to go with somebody that their employees can have easy access to, lots of providers. Reason that the insurance company would not have a lot of providers is because they have low fee reimbursements. So dental offices or medical offices even, because this is on both sides, will not contract directly because they don't like the fee schedule. So they go out of network and just tell patients, we can still see you, but we don't do the write-offs. So then what the insurance company has to do is piggyback off of a larger network where the offices are willing to take those fees. It's a more appealing fee schedule, so they'll join that network, and then the other insurance companies with the low fee schedules piggyback onto that network. Now, when they go to the HR department, they say, see, we have all of these providers, even though they're not directly contracted. Another big question that I know all of you are dying to know and have asked me before is, will I still be in network? The answer is yes. I hope I kind of explained that a little bit previously. You're going in network through a back door, through a third party, and you're still considered a network because that's the whole reason the insurance company is using this umbrella network, is so that they can say they have more offices in network. One thing I did want to touch on is that when you are using the third party or the umbrella network, is that not all of the plans carry over. So for example, HMO plans, DHMO plans, or if they have like a premier and then a lower plan type of a thing, usually the higher one will carry over. Sometimes the lower one does not. I keep track of all of that. I can give you information on all of that. So just let me know if you have questions. So what do I need to do or change when we're making the switch? So this is a pretty simple process, but it is a long, lengthy process. We're going to drop your direct contract with the insurance company in order to allow the piggybacking or the umbrella network to be able to pick up that contract. So it takes 90 days to terminate a direct contract. So you want to do this right away. If you're deciding to do that, you've got 90 days. You're still in network for that whole 90 days. Nothing changes. At the end of the 90 days, you would have marked your calendar. The insurance company will give you a specific date to go off of. And then on that day, when it rolls around, your calendar will pop up your reminder. You go into your practice management software and do the little drop down and change your fee schedule from MetLife to Carrington. And you're done. It's really that simple, I know. Other than that, you might get a few questions here or there, or from your patients, if their EOB reads a little bit differently than it used to, or the fact that their out-of-pocket fees are a little bit higher. I have a few keywords that we can teach you on how to use that to make that really easily understandable. Other than that, you do have to do a little bit of babysitting. We're talking about insurance companies. So do they do what they have agreed to do, and do they do it nicely and easily? No. The answer is always no. So you need to watch your EOBs. If they're not paying how they're supposed to be paying, call them and make them. I can help you on that if you need. Just let me know. The last big question is just, why have I not heard this sooner? Everybody kind of wants to know why everybody isn't doing this, why it's not so obvious and so easy. Another really simple answer is just simply that they don't want you to know. The insurance company doesn't want to pay a higher reimbursement rate, so they're not going to tell you that that's an option. The networking companies are not your insurance companies, so how often are you calling a random network company saying, how can I join your network to use it to monopolize the system? You don't. You didn't know it existed because nobody told you. So I'm here to tell you it's a thing. We can use it. Also, it's kind of secret. If you tell the insurance company that you're going to do that, they're going to try to block you or stop you. They want to slow down that process because, again, they don't want to pay that higher fee. So when you're going out of network, just let them know that you are not willing to accept their low reimbursement rates anymore and that you want to terminate your contract. Then the other plan will automatically pick you up. So I know I send you guys a lot of emails and there's a lot of going back and forth, and it may be hard to keep track of where we're at on things. So you know, or hopefully you've seen the increased fee schedule with Humana. Also the Dental Select work we've been doing with that, with taking back our control. We're going out of network with them and making sure we're sending all of their denials over to the insurance commissioner to have them investigated. As well, we've been working on some negotiations still with Connection Dental. Also, as we head up into our over 300 doctor marks, we're going to be opening up some more insurance companies to some more negotiations. So really exciting stuff. Please try to keep track. I know I send you a lot, but if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to give me a call, send me an email, or even a text if that's easier. I am an office manager as well for a dental practice. I know how busy things get. I know how hard it is to keep track of everything, especially when you are running the practice and scheduling the patients, and then I throw 5 emails at you. So doctors, also good note to you, intentional or not, your office managers are busy. They may not get all the information to you that they'd like to get to you. Please take a minute to set a meeting aside with them, follow up with them, find out where we're at. If you have questions, if you're not seeing things moving along, reach out to me. Let's get that taken care of for you guys.
My name is Larry Pageant. I work with Goodwill Benefits. Goodwill Benefits and the UDU have partnered together to bring you this exciting solution that we have found with Ampion. This will address the individual needs for healthcare that you've all been asking us to find. Goodwill Benefits will be reaching out to each of you to collect data, census, individual health forms, and also making appointments with each one of you to meet with Dan, to meet on a one-to-one basis with all of the needs that we can address all those needs in your office. So if you give us a call, we'll schedule those appointments. It's Goodwill Benefits. I'm Larry Pageant. We'll also be ongoing and having take care of all of the day-to-day calls, claims, customer service issues, renewals, and also the benchmarking along with Ampion.
My name is Dan Schertz. I'm the president and founder of Ampion HR Outsourcing, and we're a PEO, or Professional Employer Organization. We're talking to you today about some solutions that might be creative solutions for you to overcome the escalating cost of healthcare, your functional administrative work for your office, and some other solutions that we can get into later. But a PEO, so you know, is a very different animal than an ASO, or an Associated Services Organization. Some ASOs that you may be familiar with are companies like ADP or Paychex, or even your CPA down the road who is processing your payroll for you. These are all third-party entities who do a great job, but are in no way directly affiliated with your company. They will run your payroll for you, but they'll do it using your tax ID number, and as I said, are in no way directly affiliated with your company. A PEO, however, takes advantage of an IRS classification called co-employment. You may have heard of that term, but what you may not know is how that functions. In 1934, the IRS put out this statute that says 2 employers can employ the same individual in the same seat of operation as long as both individual employers' responsibilities are clearly defined. Underneath the statute, our clients are the employer of site and management, and Ampion, as the PEO, is the employer of record. What that means is our clients are still the employer that makes all the directional decision-making decisions for their business. Who they hire, who they fire. They determine if the employee is doing a good job. They establish what the paydays are. All these things, we don't put our hands on the steering wheel of our client's fate. What we do as the employer of record is we take on anything that's regulatory, fiduciary, or compliance in nature and offload that responsibility from our clients. What this means is that if we process payroll for you as a PEO, we would have responsibility to do the functional fiduciary responsibilities like filing the 941 tax deposits. But because we are a co-employer, we will file those tax deposits underneath our tax ID number. In essence, imagine 5 20-man companies. Each one of these companies could be in a completely separate industry. They don't need to be associated in any way. But Ampion, as a PEO, will come in and we will co-employ each one of those companies' employees, and underneath our tax ID number, create one 100-man company. We now can negotiate better health insurance rates than any one of them could have on their own. We can manage advanced benefits like 401k better and more cost effectively than any one of them could on their own. And we will centralize operations like payroll, HR, compliance, legal needs for our clients in a centralized operation so that they can operate like a Fortune 500 company as a small company. In running payroll, Ampion is the co-employer, and we, as I said, process payroll using our tax ID numbers. We have the responsibility to collect a full payroll. In your operation, you would know that if you hire somebody for $10 an hour, it actually costs you as an employer $12.50 to employ that person, because you have FICA, FUTA, SUTA, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, workers' comp, all these burden costs to payroll that you would have to pay on your own. When we collect payroll funds, we not only collect the $10 an hour to pay the employee, but we collect the $12.50 an hour to pay the employee the $10, but also to disperse to the feds and to the state and those entities those burden costs. The way we create a revenue stream for Ampion is that where our clients are paying those taxes using their tax rates, assuming, for instance, one of our clients has a SUTA rate of 3%, they're going to pay that 3% to the state of Utah anyway. For us to collect that from them imposes no financial cost to them whatsoever. But when we collect that SUTA tax at 3%, if we pay the taxes using our tax rate, and as an example, at 1%, we created 2% spread on that payroll that becomes functional for us to monetize our services. So our services, in actuality, may not cost our clients anything because we're creating our revenue stream on tax spreads, on taxes that they were already going to pay anyway. Oftentimes, PEOs won't explain this to their clients, and they go in advertising that their administrative costs are cheaper than another PEO's administrative costs. They want to focus on a front-facing methodology to charge for their services rather than explaining what a PEO is and does. I feel this is somewhat unethical, and so I've taken the time to explain this to you so that you know that our first methodology to create a revenue stream is in taxes that you would already be paying. I feel that's a win-win for both Ampion and for our clients. If you understand the methodology, how we monetize services through payroll, you would understand that there has to be a moment where Ampion as a PEO, quote unquote, hires the client company's employees to create that co-employment relationship. When we do that, we then can pay those taxes using our tax rates and everything becomes functional. But in that moment where we hire the employee, there also becomes a life event for that employee. We create an open enrollment period by which we can offer our client companies access to our benefit structure as a larger aggregated whole than any one of our clients could have had on their own individually. Because we have the opportunity to offer these benefits to our clients, we can maximize the efficiency of how we offer those benefits and reduce the cost for those benefits. Benefits is an interesting animal. Most people know that there's a law that governs health insurance called the Affordable Care Act. Most people don't know that there's a second law to manage health insurance, ERISA law. Underneath the Affordable Care Act, back in the day, 10 years ago, if you had a 10-man company and all 10 employees wanted to come on board a health insurance and one of them had stage 4 cancer, it became a simple actuarial exercise to realize that even if each one of those families was paying $1,000 a month, that would be $120,000 a year. If one of them had stage 4 cancer, that $120,000 was not going to offset $2.4 million in claims that the insurance company would have to pay, so they would decline the group. However, in previous political administrations, the Affordable Care Act was passed, which was a law that said every American should have access to health insurance. The way that they went about that was eliminating an insurance company's ability to decline for adverse risk. What that meant was that insurance companies had to accept these unhealthy population who they previously could decline away. The concept was that there'd be millions of Americans who are not paying anything for health insurance who would now by law have to accept a health insurance and pay into these insurance companies, though they're not using insurance at all, and that would offset the costs. The thought was that if they didn't accept the insurance, they would be penalized on an annual basis and have to pay a penalty come tax time. The functional mistake in that was that the penalty was a simple one-time $95 penalty as opposed to paying $400 a month that the individual wasn't going to use anyway. So most people chose the penalty. The 7 million people that enrolled in that first wave of open enrollment for the Affordable Care Act were largely those unhealthy, previously declined away population. And that created a necessity for these insurance companies to pay these claims that they had previously been able to decline away. And because they had no functional way to offset those costs, they had to raise everyone else's rates that were participating on their health insurance rates. And that's why we see insurance rates rising so quickly. It's called community rating in the industry and everybody's affected by it. Most likely you might be getting health insurance through the exchange and based on income levels, you don't have a subsidy, and you can feel the effects of these rising healthcare costs. Underneath ERISA law, ERISA says that if a small employer is willing to take on $1 responsibility for healthcare costs, that employer has the legal right to underwrite and decline for adverse risk. You almost have to let that set in. But what that means is you or I, as small employers, could collect the premiums from the participants on our health plan and keep those in a savings account underneath ERISA law. If one of our employees has to go to the doctor, from that fund, we could write a check and pay for those claims. A small employer taking on $1 responsibility for healthcare costs. Why don't we do that? Because if one of our employees went to the emergency room or was in a car accident, spent several days in the ICU, there's simply not enough time to save up enough money to offset those costs, and we would be in financial distress. Ampion, as a PEO, where we're an employee aggregator, we collect hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in premium costs. And we have the opportunity as well, because of our size, to access other entities that are called stop-loss carriers, which are basically insurance policies on our insurance policies. We pay a ghastly amount of money every month to these stop-loss carriers, and then they say, if you did have a catastrophic policy, you'd pay the first $100,000 in claims and we'd pick up whatever is there. So that way we keep our pool solvent. We have these methodologies to make sure that we're always maintaining a solvent fund. But because underneath ERISA law, we have the legal right to underwrite and decline for adverse risk, we don't have to accept the dialysis patients or cancer patients who can clearly go to the exchange and find health insurance at the exchange, but we don't have to community rate our pool. Therefore, our costs year over year outpace the marketplace, and our health insurance costs are cheaper than what you'll find on the market. It does mean that we have to underwrite for health, but if there was adverse risk, we would work with the individual as well to take them to the marketplace to find the most cost-effective plan. But this health insurance, which is an insurance fund which accesses whatever network is viable. Here in Utah, it's the Intermountain Healthcare Network, all of their network of physicians and facilities. But we utilize our fund to access that network simply at a cheaper cost because we don't have to community rate our plans. We can offer that health insurance rather than sell it, because at the moment that as a PEO, we co-employ our client company's employees, we now have a legal right to offer that health insurance to them as opposed to sell it. We're touching on this at a very high level. I'd appreciate an opportunity to talk with you more thoroughly or more in depth about this. But basically, what we're doing is we're creatively trying to create associations in the marketplace without having to actually associate any of the client companies that are part of our business. We have a larger aggregated pool to help manage the health plans, as well as manage the cost of the health plans in a methodology that without a centralized hub of the spokes of the wheel cannot be accomplished. And that's what we do at Ampion HR Outsourcing. Understanding a PEO's corporate structure is very important when thinking how you're going to offer benefits at your office. We have our main company, which is Ampion HR Outsourcing, as a parent LLC. Underneath that, we have wholly owned subsidiaries, Ampion HR Sub 1, Ampion HR Sub 2, Sub 3, Sub 4. We have these subsidiary companies because we would never hire the employees of a roofing company, for instance, in the same tax ID number as a law office. The E-mods on the workers' comp eventually will make the cost of having that law office work with us more expensive than them just operating on their own. There's not a similar risk in that pool of employees. Similarly, we would never put a Teleperformance or a Convergence or some company with a high attrition rate in the same tax ID number as a software company, because the unemployment claims, the unemployment tax rates eventually would affect the other. We have all these different sub-companies to aggregate correct risk and correct methodologies. That becomes important for you to understand, because as a dentist, the question that you're going to have is, how do I access these benefits for me and my family and not have to pay the costs of a plan rate on the open marketplace? Yet, I'm not in a position to offer benefits to my employees yet. Well, through these different companies, we can create different benefit structures. And maybe you say, well, I want to offer this to myself and maybe a few select individuals at your company that you want to make sure you're taking care of who have been with you for years. That would be fine. But we can put that into one sub-company and employ the others into another sub-company. And in that sub-company, they can clearly say, I'm still not offered benefits. So that if they are getting benefits through the open marketplace, they would still qualify for subsidies underneath the Affordable Care Act. You would not put them in a situation where you're causing financial stress to them. But we can still offer these plans to you in a methodology where we can take the premiums in a pre-taxed methodology through payroll, which lowers the taxable wage, which will save you on both sides of the equation. You as an employee, it will lower the taxable wage of what they're withholding, the IRS is withholding from you. But as an employer, because we lower the taxable wage, we'll also lower the burden costs on the payroll. That pass-through will also create increased savings for you on top of the reduced monthly premiums going from an Affordable Care Act plan to an ERISA-based plan. As I said, I'd appreciate an opportunity to explain this in greater depth. Pursue it further. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can contact the UDU and I'm sure they'll pass along my information. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I am Travis Gillespie. I am here to talk about how to be a savvy shopper for your dental practice. And the first question we ask is why? Why is it important to be a savvy shopper? Number one is yes, it is very important. And the reason why it is very important is because the money that you save on dental supplies and the money that you save in your dental practice is the best money that you're going to make. The only money that's better than money saved is money that you make from money that you produce, like insurance, getting better reimbursement with insurance. But the next best money is money saved. And the third best money is money produced. If you have to produce, you've got overhead and you've got the costs associated with that, which then you don't make as much. Secondly, knowing really what's going on in the dental industry. Our industry is changing dramatically. Running a healthy dental practice and a healthy business is more important than ever right now in this market. It's very important to make sure that you're lowering your overhead and that you're getting all of your business in line with where it should be. The last thing is, well, the second to last thing is being efficient. There is a very strong need of being efficient in your dental practices. Saving money equals making more money equals more freedom for the dentist and the dental staff. Okay, so what can you be savvy about? What can you be savvy about? You can be savvy about dental supplies, office supplies, equipment, technology, repair service, labs, credit card processing, phone services, marketing, and really ultimately anything that you want to save money on within your dental office, because anything that you're spending money on, you can be savvy on. But today, what I want to specifically talk about, because there's a lot of different things out there, is I want to talk about dental supplies. It's one of the largest costs within a dental practice. And really, it's a variable cost, so it's something that can change every month. And so it gives you really the opportunity to save money in a great way. And so I want to specifically talk about that first. Number one is the first thing that you need to do is you need to know what your costs are. You need to know what your monthly supply costs are, and you need to know what your supply percentage is. That information, that data, is so important. Data within a dental office is a great commodity, as well as data just in general. It's the #1 commodity in the world now. And so capturing that data, it really gives you a blueprint of what you're doing in your dental office. Number two is you've got to be open to change. You can't continue to do the same thing over and over again, expect different results. Being able to change what you're doing and adapt to a new changing market is very important. It's kind of like a diet. If you continue to go to the gym holding a box of donuts and eating the donuts before you go to the gym, you'll probably be upset with your outcome. So think of this as a supply diet, as a way that you're going to look at things differently, be open to change and be open to changing the way that the way that your office is going to get better results. The third thing that's so important is creating an order management system. Having a system in place that allows you to then, if you have multiple office or just the office, allows you to systemize what you're doing so the outcomes can be controlled, and the ability to run an efficient practice is at its highest. But what I want to talk about now is I want to talk about an order management system. To me, this is such a critical way of being a savvy shopper, because having a system in place allows you to blueprint what you're doing and being able to take that if you want to open multiple practices, or if you want to train more people in what you're doing. It allows you to have a system in place so you're not constantly changing the way that you're doing things. The number one thing that I look for in an order management system is ordering roles. It's very important that your staff and your team, everyone on your team, understands their role in the ordering process, because it really is a team effort. Number two is choosing the right person to head up the ordering. Choosing the right person is very important. Not everyone's a great fit for that role, and that's fine. There's some people that are better than others, but choosing that right person is going to give you the person that can head that responsibility and can do a great job. Creating a monthly spending plan. Some people call that a budget, we call it a spending plan. That monthly spending plan allows you to have accountability. It allows you to look at the end of the month with what your goal is. So say that your supply goal is to be at 5% of collections or production. That 5% is a very, very critical number. It's your goal, right? And so what you want to look at is you want to look at, and there's different ways that you can create your budget, but for me, one of the ways that I like to do it is I like to look at your previous month's collections or production, to times that by 5%, and that would give you, let's just, for math's sake, let's just say you collected $100,000 times 5%, that gives you $5,000. Now I know that if I want to be at 5% at the end of this month that we're doing, I know that our staff, our order manager, or whatever you want to call them, your lead, has $5,000 to be within that healthy supply percentage. And that's such an important number, because if you start to see that you're constantly over that number, or if you're under that number, then you can recognize what's going on. You can see the data and you can say, oh, we're at $7,000 each month on supplies. Maybe there's a problem, and we can look at it going backwards, and we can look at the different ordering behaviors, and you can say, okay, well, maybe let's look at, are we overspending? Are we not maximizing? Are we paying too much for our supplies? There's a bunch of different things you can look at. Are we just kind of ordering recklessly? Huge volumes of supplies. Are we wasting our products? There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. I've found there's about 15 different ordering behaviors that you can look at that can tell what's going on within your office. So number 3 is, once you've got your monthly spending plan in place, then what you want to look at is you want to look at your inventory system. You want to look at what you're ordering, because most dental offices, they have a specific list or order histories from different vendors that they work with. And I think of that as the ability to create an ordering system. And for me, the most important thing with that is to categorize that and to put it into what I call a formulary. Some people call it a master order list. But basically a list that allows you to see everything that you've ordered in the past. And it gives you a very, very good way to consolidate and to centralize all of that ordering into one simplified area. We like to use a software to do that. We feel it's the easiest. When I went around and I asked people about what would be the best inventory or order management system out there, they said, oh, if it was something like Amazon. Ordering from Amazon is such an easy way to order. And so because you can order everything from one centralized place. You know, you can order your paper towels from your your pens to your paper to dog food from one centralized place, right? And so the nice thing about creating an inventory system is it allows you to not have to look through a bunch of catalogs or to scurry through websites and find out what you're ordering, taking a lot of time. It allows you a very, very easy, convenient way. And like I said, there's different forms of doing this. You can do it within a spreadsheet. Some people will do it like us. We like to do it within an actual like a computer system. But the most important thing is that you put everything that you order into one centralized place so you know what you're ordering. You don't have to take a lot of time to look for it. The fourth thing that I look for within an ordering system is setting up a specific order day. Your team will tell you what you need to be ordering in time instead of you placing an order and then all of a sudden they say, oh, I forgot to tell you we need to order this and this and this. It gives everybody a chance to be on the same page. Plus, it also makes it where you're not placing orders every single day, or you're not spending a lot of time doing the ordering. You can set aside time specifically for that day where you can look through your inventory, and really throughout the week you should be looking through your inventory, looking at what you're getting low as you're walking by or as you're working. You can keep tabs on it. But the nice thing about it is you have a designated day that allows you to put everyone on the same page, even the doctors and the staff, to know that when they need to get you the information if they're getting low on their specific products like hygiene or endo products or implant products. The fifth thing is price shopping. And I'm going to talk more about this. Price shopping, once you've gone in and you've started to systemize your ordering, the next step is to make sure you're getting the best prices possible for the products that you're using. And there's really an art to that, so I'll talk more about that in just a minute. But price shopping is that next step. The last thing is, since you now have a system in place, instead of having a bunch of different systems on ordering, ordering from this website and then ordering from this website and ordering from this company and calling this person and kind of having it more reactive than proactive is what I like to call it. The nice thing about once you have that system in place, it makes it very easy for if the person in charge of ordering moves on, say they leave the office for whatever reason. It makes it really easy to bring in a new hire and put them right into your system. You still have your prices in place. They know what products you're using. They know what day that you want to order. The whole staff already has all that information. And so it makes the ordering process a lot more efficient and a lot more effective. And really it makes it where you can pick up from where you left off without having any big issues. One thing that I've noticed in my years of working in dental is that when someone who's really good at ordering leaves an office and someone else comes into place, the doctors, they usually can sometimes get really upset with sometimes the outcome. Sometimes prices go up. Sometimes the staff doesn't know the products very well of what the doctor specifically likes, and so they have a lot of returns, or they're not maximizing their free goods. The nice thing about having a system in place for the office for ordering is that all of those things that are worries or headaches for the dentist now can be alleviated, because now you've already weeded out the roles, the people, and the prices, and in creating a spending plan which keeps you in place. Okay, so Savvy Price Shopping 101. So this to me is really, like I said, it's an art. And when I say it's an art, it takes a few different things. One, it takes experience. One, it takes product knowledge. But two, what it also takes is it takes actual motivation to want to price shop, because price shopping isn't very easy. Having to log into multiple websites and having to see and negotiate from all these different websites can be a real hassle and can take a lot of time, to be honest. But it's proven that the best way to save money on dental supplies and the best way to be able to see a return from saving money is to price shop. And the nice thing about our current market that we're in is we've changed from an old distribution model. And the old distribution model was where there was only a handful of distributors out there, and they would even go the extra mile of going, like taking your order, packaging your order, and then bringing it to your office. The day and age has changed where now a lot of the ordering is just done online, and there's a lot more suppliers out there than there used to be. There used to just be a handful. Now there are hundreds of different suppliers. And that brings up another point that I really want to bring home is as a savvy shopper, you really should know what you're buying, because in dental right now, there is licensed product and there's product that isn't licensed. And that unlicensed product is called gray market supplies, is kind of the terminology for it. And really to kind of clear the air on that is gray market supplies are basically supplies that you can't trace back to a licensed source. So that would be any of your composites, bonds, anything that's staying in the mouth, chemical, products that have to do with chemicals that can be ultimately mutated through the transportation cycle, because those specific products have to be transported in temperature-specific trucks or planes or however they're transported to the distributors, and then they distribute it in the right way as well. And so I am very, very big on making sure that we're using top quality supplies for, number one, our patients, and number two, for the reputation of the doctors that I work with, as well as the reputation of the dental industry in general. We want to make sure that it's all about patient care and that we're doing the best thing for our patients possible. And the last thing we want is a product that will fail down the road and will ultimately cost you more money in the end if it fails. And so for me, I want to make sure that people understand that you might save a little bit of money up front on gray market items, and it might sound like so good to be true. It might be a fourth of the cost, but ultimately it could cost you a lot more in the end. And so I'm really big on making sure that we are holding ourselves to a higher standard within the industry. When we look at the product triangle, I'm thinking of three things. I'm thinking of price, I'm thinking of quality, and I'm thinking of convenience. There's different suppliers out there that will sell specifically on price. And so when you're shopping, you got to look at a few different things. You got to look at one, is it a gray market product or not? And you can decipher that very, very quickly. 3M and Dent Supply and GC America and a bunch of the Voco and those companies, they have lists on their website that you can see if it's a licensed company selling their product or not. So you want to make sure that it's good quality. You also want to make sure that you're going to get it in a timely manner. Some products from certain companies will look like a great price, but then they take anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks to get to your office. And you never want to lose production because you bought a product for maybe, half off, but you didn't get it in time, and now you had to reschedule that patient, or that patient didn't come in because you couldn't see them because you didn't have the product, right? And so getting it there in a timely manner is very important when you're looking at shopping. And certain companies can get it there a lot quicker than others. And so when I'm looking at shopping, I'm looking at like those three things. I'm looking at the price. If it's a great price, I'm looking at the quality. I want to make sure it's a reputable company and it's a great quality product. And three, I'm looking at convenience. I'm looking at how fast it can get to me. And I'm looking at how fast we can get it so we're not out, we're not losing money. The other thing to know, and this comes with time, is product experience. Product experience is very important, and when I say that is there are ways when we talked about change, being open to change. The last thing we want to do is go in and change your complete, systems and change, like an implant system or things like that. But there are products out there, like for example, saliva ejectors. They can be anywhere from $10 a bag down as low as, let's just say, a couple dollars a bag. Gloves, the same thing with gloves. Gloves can be as high as $20 to $30 a box, or they can be as low as, $5 or so a box. There's a lot of variance within those products that can give you the best bang for your buck. You order a ton of gloves, you order a ton of, let's say, wipes like cabbie wipes to wipe down your operatories, the products that you're using over and over again, those disposable products. There's a huge variance, and there's really an art to shopping for those products where you can get a great quality product at a great price. And some of that comes with trial and error, and some of it comes with just years of experience within the field. And even with some products like anesthetic, for example, there's Articaine. Articaine, you can buy it from a couple different distributors out there, or sorry, not distributors, manufacturers, and there can be a variance of up to 30% on the same product that's a pharmaceutical product, and you can get great outcomes and great quality, but also save great money on those products. Last thing I want to talk about is ultimately the old distribution model compared to the e-commerce model. There are pros and cons to each. The distribution model that's been around for years, 30, 40 years, and that's where you have manufacturers, you've got suppliers, distributors out there selling the products, and they're selling as much products as they can. And then you also have the e-commerce model, which is similar to like an Amazon model. That model, it allows you to go in, it allows you to price shop the items, and it allows you to see what's going on within your office, and it ultimately puts you in complete control of what you want to do. It does take a little bit more time to be able to do that, whereas the distribution model is very convenient, but you are paying for that convenience. Usually the products are marked up anywhere from 30-20% to be able to pay for that convenience within that distribution model. And so for us, we like to find that happy medium where we're still getting the convenience, we're still getting the quality, and we're still getting the price. And really with the offices, when we educate, we want them to know that a hybrid approach is not a bad way to go right now, where you can still maximize the service that you're getting within the suppliers and the distribution company that you're getting, but also using all the e-commerce to be able to negotiate with them if you want to continue to work with them, or some people have decided to just go straight through an e-commerce style to get the pricing that they want. Some of the case studies that I've worked with over the last couple years, ever since I have started Advo Dental, the very first order that we placed, an office came to me and said, "Hey, I want you to price shop these items for me." And so we took their order and we started to price shop it, and we started to find prices and great prices. And I was really amazed at what we were able to come up with. In that very first order, we saved the office $1,600. And it opened my eyes to the ability of not only setting up, being a savvy shopper, but setting up a system in place, being more efficient, saving more time, and then utilizing the product experience that we have to help save the doctor ultimately a lot of money, because he places 4 orders a month, and that was just one of the orders that he had saved $1,600 on. The other thing is, you can look at your supply percentage. And if you're at, let's say you're at 9%, and you all of a sudden go down from 9% and you go down to 8%. If you're producing, or if you're collecting $1 million, that's $10,000 in savings going down 1%. So the biggest success that we had so far with Advo Dental is that we had an office go from 9% down to 4%. And what that meant is that if that office was producing or collecting $1 million a year, for every percent that they went down, that was saving them $10,000. And that was huge savings. And how we were able to get there was following the same protocol that we just talked about, being a savvy shopper, creating a system, knowing what's going on in the industry, and motivating the team to understand why it's important to save money. Also, utilizing the principles of change and being able to change a few disposable products that were costing them a lot of money and change them out with products that were great quality products but gave them a better bang for their buck without sacrificing any quality or any patient care. And also consolidating, instead of ordering like 3 or 4 different styles of saliva ejectors, some that are fruity and some that are mint scented, we just ordered the white ones that saved them 75% of their costs. We took all of those things and we were able to save them legitimately hundreds of thousands of dollars within this dental group. And they were able to take that money and buy themselves, like I said, more freedom. And in their case, they bought more dental offices, or they paid off the dental offices that they were working with. But it was a real testament to me that, number one, in supplies and in dental supplies, there aren't very many systems in place. But setting up a universal system that will let you work not only with this supplier and this supplier and this supplier, but allowing it to all come together so you know exactly where all your monies are going. And allows you to have a very transparent idea of what's really going on with your office. Because as your second or third largest expense in your dental office, getting your supplies in check is so important. It's so important to have that, because as you then lower your overhead, it allows you to use that money to spend it on marketing for new patients. It allows you to spend it on getting more staff. It allows you to spend it on things that will produce more for your practice. But how a lot of the big DSOs, and why they're growing so much in this dental industry right now, is they're lowering their expenses. They're lowering their costs, one, to pay for their management, but two, to allow them to market more, to get in front of more patients. And so as a solo practice, a great way to not only make more, but a great way to grow your practice is to lower your expenses, to get them systemized, to get them in line with where they should be within a healthy business model, so then you can grow even bigger, and you can see more patients. Because the more efficient you are, because you can't buy more time, you only have so much time in a day, right? And you can only make so much unless you're more efficient. So the last thing I want to talk about is ordering equipment and technology. A great way that I've learned to do this is, and to not have any buyer's remorse, is to, number one, decide what equipment you want, right? To research prior, or to utilize your resources to research the equipment that you want, or the technology, say a cone beam, or say it be a dental chair or an operatory, or even a new office. The best way that I found to have zero buyer's remorse and to also get the best pricing possible that you can get for yourself is to, number one, decide who you want to use and what products you want to get. Then we go to that person or to that supplier and we say, hey, we need a quote from you, and to let you know, we are going to price this around, if you're okay with it, with other people that sell that equipment. Let's say it's ADEC equipment. And so With ADEC equipment, we know there's only a handful of other suppliers that sell it. Then we would give that quote to the other suppliers and we'd say, give us your best pricing. We would leave the pricing out of it so it's fair. And we want to now exhaust any effort to get the best pricing specifically for that product. And then we gather them and then we go back to that person that we want to work with. And that person's usually the equipment specialist for the supplier. We go back to that equipment specialist and say, hey, we really want to work with you, and you know that. And so if you can match or beat this pricing that we had found, or maybe they were the best from the get-go, but now we know that we have looked at every option possible for those suppliers that possibly can sell that, and we can go with the person that we want to go with. From past experience, that has worked really, really great for me, and it has worked really great for the doctors, because the last thing they want to have happen is all of a sudden you buy a new chair, or let's say a new operatory, and then all of a sudden a supplier comes and says, oh, I could have given that to you for $3,000 less. You don't ever want that to happen. You want to exhaust all options. It gives you the best possible feeling and the best possible situation, because the person who you wanted to service, to install that chair, is doing it, and it worked out for the best for not only the business, but for all parties. So at Advo Dental, we have looked at all of these processes and all of these issues that come up with ordering, and we've tried to simplify the process as much as possible. We've created a platform that allows you to put in all of your ordering and centralize it in one place. So from Amazon to Ultradent to Henry Schein to Benco and anything in between, you can order from one simple platform. We've also taken that and we've created a very easy to manage that and manage your spending. So you have complete transparency, so it's as easy as possible. The doctors, when we created this idea of Advo, the whole idea was to give the doctors back control. And the idea of giving back control was giving them the ability to know what was going on in their dental practice and ultimately to know where their money was going. Our goal with Advo Dental was to listen to them, and we tried to create a platform that allows them to maximize every single bit of that. And as we continue to grow this platform and continue to give the doctors exactly the data that they want, as well as a super convenient ordering platform, it's getting better and better for the dentists in Utah as well as other places. Lastly, I just want to say thank you so much to the UDU. They are an amazing group, and I'm so happy to be part of them and so happy for this opportunity to talk with you guys today and to talk about being a savvy shopper. It's something I'm super passionate about. It's something I've grown to absolutely love, is helping save doctors money on dental supplies as well as equipment and all facets of their office, anything that has to do with expense management. I absolutely love what I do, and I love being part of this group because they do it very, very well. It's an honor to be here with you guys tonight, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you.